Chychrun's an interesting one. I feel like he's been on the trade block like for a decade. I feel like it's been forever that we've been talking about Jakob Chychrun. I feel like it's like an annual tradition at this point that we just kind of discuss it every year at the deadline because he's on such a team friendly deal. 4.6 million average annual value for this season and 2 more. Crazy. 6'2". I believe he's 24 years old. So I will admit, I have not watched a ton of Arizona Coyote games this season. I have not. Crazy thing to admit. I know. Maybe you think, oh, I've been lost all his legitimacy because of that. No, it's okay. I know you don't think that, but I was reading up on Chychrun, and I was reading a story done by Frank Saravalli at the Daily Faceoff, where he kind of gives a scouting report. He gives teams that would be interested. The Bruins were not on that list. This was back on like January 11th. He wrote this. I don't think enough has changed in that time that the Bruins would now be on that list. But there's a scouting report and there's potential things you get in return. So the thing on Chychrun is, again, he's a second pair defenseman, offensive guy with a lot of tools, but the hockey IQ wasn't always there. That's a little bit of a worry with him. Again, I'm not trying to he's a terrific defenseman, great, second pair on a really good team. But just what, Frank wrote and what scouts are saying in that story, struggles to make plays under pressure, things like that. I think ultimately he probably would be a fine fit in Jim Montgomery's system as an active D, jumping up in the play a lot, making plays in the O-zone, getting shots through. He's very good at that. So I think he would, like, in the lineup, be a fit. I mean, again, like, just think in terms of a top four of, let's say even, okay, Lindholm and McAvoy, Carlo, Chychrun and Carlo, or Chychrun and McAvoy, Lindholm and Carlo, whatever, right? You can make it work. But it's going to take something to get him. And if this was last year, Chychrun would have made sense. Like, you needed a top 4/top pairing left shot defenseman, but you already went out and got that in Hampus Lindholm. You also have Matt Grzelcyk, who, when with Charlie McAvoy, is a sure top 4 defenseman. Now, again, in the playoffs, do you maybe want a bigger top 4 defenseman? Okay, sure, I guess. But again, to me, I just, you have something there with Grzelcyk already. And also with Chychrun, and Saravalli was getting into this, it would take, again, high round picks plus a grade A prospect. So this is not a need. You don't need this. If you can upgrade, the reality is if you can upgrade Grzelcyk with Chychrun, yeah, that's a big upgrade, like, clearly. But is it worth the price? So let's discuss this. Let's get into it. I don't think the Bruins are going to do this. I don't think the Bruins will get in on Chychrun. I guess I'll preface it with that. But I will say that let's just discuss it for the sake of discussing it. It's just us. We're having fun, right? Remember? So, okay. High round picks. Well, Bruins would probably want to make their first round pick this year. They've certainly missed many first round picks in the past couple of years. So you probably want to make that pick. But okay, you put a first in there, plus a grade A prospect. So that's either Lysell or Lowry. If you want to throw Lowry in there, then I guess it kind of makes sense, right? Because you're trading, Lowry projects as probably a, NHL left shot defenseman. In this deal, if let's say the deal, and I think it would take a little more than this, but let's say like you traded your 2023 first plus Lowry, and maybe you throw another prospect in, the other thing is you're missing your second round pick this year and next year. You dealt that for Hampus Lindholm. So are you going to go even further in the future? Are you going to trade another top prospect in this deal? So again, if you're trading, essentially Lowry and a first for Chychrun, I don't think that's horrible. I mean, it's not a need. You're just kind of solidifying, okay, speaking from the Bruins perspective, we have now a really stout top 4, which you already kind of have. Lindholm is a number 1 defenseman on most teams. McAvoy is your number 1, elite tier defenseman. Carlo's a great shutdown guy. Grzelcyk, good puck mover, all those things. You have that. You also have Derek Forbort as a good shutdown defenseman on the third pairing. So again, I don't know. This isn't a need, but if you really wanted to, and also if you wanted to kind of do an arms race thing where, Toronto could certainly use Chychrun. And it wouldn't surprise me if they were, or another East team got Chychrun. And also, there's no pressure, by the way, for the Coyotes to move him because he still has 2 years left on that deal. So they can keep listening offers. They can wait for the best possible one, which is why other teams have more to give. You don't have as much. So again, like if no other team, if this was like a Taylor Hall type thing where like Chychrun said, no, I only want to go to Boston, which I don't believe he can. At his 10 trade list, his 10 team trade list doesn't kick in until July 1st, I believe. So they don't even have that. They don't even have like I only want to go to Boston. Like they can really deal him wherever. So again, is it worth giving up someone like a Lowry and a first? Maybe, but other teams are going to outdo that. So then you're extending even more for something you don't even really need. And as I said, you can maybe get into the whole arms race thing of, oh, good, we took him from the Maple Leafs, but that's a dangerous thing to do, to give up future for that. Now, if you win a cup, it doesn't matter, right? Like if you win a cup, it all goes out the window. Like it's worth it. That's why, like a team like St. Louis can't get bashed for trading Tage Thompson because they got Ryan O'Reilly, who led them to a Stanley Cup. So, all is well. But I do think it is slippery. So, yeah, I don't think they'll do anything with Chychrun. It's not a huge need, but if they did, that would probably be how it would go down. But again, my prediction is they probably don't. Not saying they, won't, but my guess is they probably don't. So interesting stuff, though. Interesting stuff with Chychrun. It's a valid question because again, the Bruins needed a top 4 defenseman for a long time. They got Lindholm last year, so kind of put all that stuff away. And it also shows the Bruins have a lot of depth, as I've said a zillion times now, that they can go out and kind of do these things and upgrade at certain positions if they really, really want to.